For generations, Cliff Richard was never just a chart-topping artist. He was a familiar presence woven into daily life. His songs played softly in kitchens, echoed through car radios, and soundtracked family gatherings and quiet moments alike. Music for Cliff was never a performance mask, but a lifelong companion shaped by experience, faith, and perseverance. Now at 84, his reflections carry a depth that only time can offer. He no longer speaks in terms of fame or numbers, but of meaning, gratitude, and endurance. The applause may have softened, yet the connection remains. Cliff's story today is not about chasing relevance, but about honoring a life lived openly in front of millions, while learning how to grow inwardly. His voice still resonates, not because it demands attention, but because it carries sincerity earned over decades of resilience and quiet strength. Roots, far from the spotlight. Before the world knew him as Cliff Richard, he was Harry Roger Webb, born in 1940 in Lucknow during the final years of British India. His childhood unfolded in a close-knit family shaped by modest means, shared routines, and a strong sense of togetherness. Life was stable but fragile, influenced by historical change beyond their control. As India moved toward independence, uncertainty grew, and safety became a concern. The decision to leave was painful, but necessary. When the family relocated to England in 1948, everything changed. The warmth of familiarity was replaced by colder streets, smaller homes, and cultural adjustment. Yet those early years instilled adaptability and resilience in Cliff. Learning to navigate loss, transition, and new beginnings at such a young age quietly prepared him for a life that would later unfold under intense public attention. Finding his place through music. Settling in post-war England wasn't easy, but music became a refuge. Like many young people of that era, Cliff was drawn to emerging sounds that felt alive and expressive. When he received a guitar as a teenager, it seemed like a small moment, yet it opened a door. Music offered identity at a time when belonging felt uncertain. Singing with friends, experimenting with harmonies, and performing locally gave him confidence he hadn't known before. It wasn't about ambition yet. It was about expression. Slowly, instinct replaced hesitation. Without realizing it, Harry Webb was stepping into a future shaped by rhythm and voice. Music wasn't an escape from reality. It was a way to understand it. Those early experiences planted the foundation for a career built not on image alone, but on genuine connection and emotional honesty. Becoming Cliff Richard? The transition from Harry Webb to Cliff Richard marked more than a name change. It represented confidence taking shape. Encouraged by peers and inspired by American rock and roll, he embraced a persona that allowed him to stand taller and take creative risks. Early performances were imperfect but electric, fueled by conviction rather than polish. When he stepped onto a larger stage in the late 1950s, something shifted. Audiences sensed authenticity. That spark ignited with Move It, a song that unexpectedly helped redefine British pop music. Its raw energy felt new and homegrown, signaling a shift away from imitation toward originality. Almost overnight, Cliff became the face of a cultural movement. Success arrived quickly, but it wasn't reckless. Beneath the rising fame was discipline shaped by family values and an instinct to keep learning rather than simply enjoying momentum. Success, evolution, and endurance. As his career expanded, Cliff adapted rather than resisted change. Collaborating with the Shadows brought balance and longevity, creating a sound that dominated the pre-Beatles era. Yet he refused to be confined to one version of himself. Over time, his music softened, reflecting maturity and personal growth. While trends shifted rapidly around him, Cliff remained consistent by evolving honestly. He explored film, television, and live performance without losing his grounding. His faith became more prominent, influencing both his artistry and outlook. Rather than chasing youth or novelty, he respected his audience by growing alongside them. Decades passed, charts changed, but Cliff endured. His success was never just about staying visible, it was about staying sincere. That commitment allowed his career to span generations, becoming less about popularity and more about trust, losses that shaped the man. Behind the spotlight, Cliff's life was marked by deep personal loss. The sudden death of his father when Cliff was just 20 left a lasting ache. Fame offered no protection from grief. His father had believed in him early, providing guidance and stability during uncertain beginnings. Years later, Cliff would face another profound challenge as his mother battled Alzheimer's disease. Watching her fade while still present was a slow, painful goodbye that tested emotional endurance. Caring for her alongside his sisters reinforced the importance of family above all else. When she passed in 2007, it closed a chapter that had anchored his entire journey. Later, the loss of his sister Donna added another layer of sorrow. Through it all, Cliff learned that grief doesn't diminish strength, it reshapes it, deepening empathy and perspective. living under the microscope. Life in the public eye brought scrutiny alongside success. There were moments when attention felt intrusive and trust was tested. Cliff chose a path of dignity rather than bitterness, focusing on healing instead of conflict. He spoke openly about emotional strain without allowing hardship to define his identity. His personal choices, especially his decision not to marry, were often misunderstood. Cliff never framed his life as incomplete. He believed fulfillment wasn't dictated by tradition, but by integrity and honesty. Friendship became family, loyalty became home, and independence became peace. Over time, speculation faded in importance. What mattered was remaining true to himself. By refusing to conform to expectations that didn't align with his values, Cliff demonstrated that fulfillment has many forms and that living authentically requires courage as much as confidence. Aging, faith, and acceptance. At 84, Cliff Richard speaks about aging with calm realism. He acknowledges limitations without surrendering joy. Performing requires more care now, and recovery takes longer. But the connection with audiences remains powerful. Faith, once rigid, has evolved into something gentler and more compassionate. Loss and experience softened his beliefs, teaching him that kindness matters more than certainty. He approaches mortality without fear, focusing instead on presence and gratitude. Rather than planning an ending, he listens to instinct. Retirement to him isn't a final decision, it's a choice renewed daily. Music still brings meaning, and as long as it does, he continues. Aging hasn't silenced him, it has refined him. His voice carries wisdom now, shaped not by perfection, but by acceptance. A legacy defined by grace. Cliff Richard's legacy extends far beyond records sold or awards received. It lives in resilience, consistency, and quiet courage. He didn't chase trends, he honored conviction. His journey reflects a life lived openly, with room for change, reflection, and growth. Today, Cliff lives with gratitude and balance, aware of both time's limits and its gifts. He continues to sing not out of obligation, but because it still brings joy to himself and to those who listen. His story reminds us that success isn't about avoiding hardship, but about meeting it with grace. In a world that often demands reinvention, Cliff Richard's greatest achievement may be his ability to remain genuine. Sometimes the most powerful voice isn't the loudest, it's the one that keeps singing, even as it grows softer.